Anjalika Bardalai, and I'm a senior analyst with Eurasia Group, focusing on South Asia. And I'm speaking here today at the India Inc. seminar on the outlook for India after the elections. So I think that there's now huge potential for an improvement in India-UK ties, particularly in the trade and investment, basically the commercial space. Obviously there's a lot of excitement around the business orientation of the new government in India. I think that that will include improvements in the business environment and the prospects for investment in some sectors that are actually quite key for the UK, so defence for one example. So I think that that means that there's a lot of potential. I'm definitely optimistic. I do think that some people's expectations of the reform agenda that we might see from the new government are maybe a little bit too high. So I think that the optimism needs to be grounded. Basically I've been saying that I'm cautiously optimistic and that it's sort of we are cautiously constructive, I think I'd say. But yeah, there is definitely a lot that can be done, in relatively short order, in order to improve the investment environment and to further liberalize the foreign investment regulations. So I think the thing that I found most impressive, and it's, I would emphasize that it's still really early days. It's the new government is really just a few weeks old. But, this idea of streamlining the bureaucracy and that's being done, it seems, with a view to making it more efficient is fantastic. The idea of some kind of consolidation and a little bit of centralization of power, I think, will also be really key to making government more efficient and making sure that that things get done and clearing some of this so-called policy paralysis that we've seen. And also just all these stories that we're hearing about the work ethic and the long days and the hard work, and I think it's fantastic. It's sort of bringing in like a new political culture, which I think if sustained, that's going to be instrumental in bringing about some kind of new political paradigm. Oh, that's a tricky one. There are so many messages. There's so much. As I said, there's so much expectation and so much riding for India and for the 1.2 billion Indians on the new government and on Mr. Modi's leadership. But I think the main message would be to try and temper expectations as much as possible, because I worry that expectations are so high that even with all that the new government might do, some people and some detractors might still say, oh, well, it wasn't enough because expectations were, unrealistically high. So I worry about that kind of base of comparison. And I know you've asked for one, but if I could be cheeky and give a second message, it would really be, it would be to emphasize that something that the government has already said and emphasized, which is the need to focus on growth and investment. Not just for the business opportunities that it presents to the UK and to UK businesses, but just in terms of job creation and meeting the aspirations of the hundreds of millions of youth, many of whom voted this government into power. So I think the most important thing is, of course, there's a lot of excitement right now around India, but I think that foreign companies need to view their entry into India and their commercial relations with India through a very long-term lens. I think that's very important, and it's something that we've seen quite often doesn't happen. And I think if you go in with again, unrealistic expectations and a short-term horizon, then one is likely to be more disappointed. So stick with it for the long term.